Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I want to start up a new series called Stepanka's Spicy Strategy. As you guys know, I've been in the spicy industry for almost 10 years and I have made quite a bit of money doing this. And with the money that I've earned doing this job, I've been able to buy a home, buy multiple cars, treat my family. And I know that I get a lot of judgment for doing this job, but unfortunately, it is part of the reason why I have what I have today. And I get so many people in my messages, especially on Instagram, asking me, how do I get into doing this? How do I do what you do? Or I'm already doing this, but I'm not seeing success. How can I see even just like a fraction of the success that you are having? And today I'm going to go step by step on some of my biggest pieces of advice on how you can make money doing this, how you can take yourself to 10K a month baseline and expand from there. And you might be watching this and you might not think that it's possible. I'm telling you right now, it is 100% possible. But some of this advice, you might not actually like it. So stick around, let's get right into it. And those of you who are curious if you can do this with no social media following, if you are wondering if you can do this with not the most ideal physical traits, like you're not a porn star, hey, look at me, I'm not either. Yes, you can, but you're gonna have to listen very closely. Total side note, but I do have a specific course for content creators of all different types, all different social media following sizes, and that course is right now on sale, and it's going to provide you a completely comprehensive, thorough explanation of all of my strategies, all of my tools, all of the language that I use. I even dive into like the psychological aspect of how to make money doing this. So that's going to be linked down below if you guys are interested. So first things first, agencies. Let's talk about agencies because nowadays every single content creator, big or small, seems to have an agency. And let's figure out what the purpose of an agency is and why they have been hired by so many models. What agencies usually do is they will take over your spicy page. They will charge you upwards of 50-60% of your net or sometimes even gross revenue in order to have chatters on at every single hour of the day. The whole logic behind having chatters and managers on your spicy page at all hours is obviously, if a store is open 24 hours a day, you're never going to miss a sale. You're never going to miss an opportunity to make money. And so this is kind of where agencies come in. It's when a model doesn't have enough time or maybe isn't savvy enough to manage her own page. And, for some creators, having an agency works. But if you really want to understand how to make money in this industry, if you want to keep 100% of your revenue, and if you want to give your fans a truly amazing experience, because let's be real, most agencies suck. Most agencies are not very convincing. They do not give you an individual voice. They do not make your page feel like you. They make it feel like every other girl on OF. And members have already caught on. I think agencies have kind of become a plague of sites like OF because so many members are wise to this. They know that most of the time they're not actually speaking with the model. So there's a lot of doubt, there's a lot of resentment. People are less willing to spend money because they don't believe that it's the actual model that they're talking to. So one way that you can give yourself a one up on all of the competition in this very saturated industry is just by simply running your page yourself, being authentic, being you. Always remember that people are not joining your OF or OF in general because they just simply want to see nudity. If they wanted to see, your chimichangas, they could just go to the black and yellow site and they would have it for free. So the first piece of advice I have is treat it like a business. You are going to be your best manager. You are going to be way better than an agency. And, maybe eventually over time, you can give your page to an agency if you want to shift your focus to other things. When you were in a growth phase and you really want to take control of this, learn how to run this page from the ground up, I think it's best to run your own account. And that's why I'm so successful at doing what I do. And people are always shocked to find out that I'm running my page. I've had people message me be like, I still don't believe it's you. And I'm like, okay, I sent you a voice note and a video. I'm starting to think that you're scamming me. But people are always so surprised and pleasantly surprised. And I get so many positive testimonials from fans saying, like, wow, this is so refreshing. There's so many scams here on OF. There's so many girls here who are being run by bots and agencies and managers, and you're just a real person. The next piece of advice I have is kind of piggybacking off of what I mentioned earlier, and it's the reason why agencies are able to make models more money sometimes is because they are online all the time. This is honestly my number one strategy, my number one tool. There were periods of time where I wasn't focused on content creation and I was barely making any money on my spicy page. I had shifted my focus over to being a CEO of a company, and I just didn't have the time to dedicate to my OF and to creating content. And so maybe I would be on for like an hour or 30 minutes per day, or sometimes I just wouldn't go on at all. And so I wasn't really making much money. I would maybe make like a couple $1,000s a month of just like, reoccurring subscription income, or if people would just like unlock things here or there. It wasn't until I actually started treating it like a real 9 to 5 job again, that's when I started making more money again. And literally, it was crazy. I was not logging on very often. I wasn't chatting much, and I was making maybe 2, 3K a month. And then the month that I was like, okay, I'm gonna like fully commit myself to this again. And I was waking up early. I was on from 8 o'clock till 10 o'clock at night. I was working like crazy hours, and literally, there was not a moment I was not at my computer or on my phone working on my spicy page. And literally, my revenue shot up immensely. 30 times, 30x is what I was making. It was absolutely insane. And so it showed me that, the amount of money you're going to make is directly correlated to the amount of time you spend. If you spend 2 hours, you might make a little bit of money. If you spend all day hustling, you're going to make a lot of money. That is like 100%. Put in the hours, put in the time, and then once you establish yourself, once you have built a solid foundation of paying fans and subscribers, then you can take more time off. Now, my next piece of advice is also piggybacking off of what I just said, is, treating this like a business. Did you guys know that upwards of 80% of all of the revenue earned on OnlyFans is actually not made on OnlyFans.com? Like, people do not log into OnlyFans.com and manage their own page. Most professional agencies and most big creators use a software such as Inflow or Super Creator. And what these softwares do is they plug into your OF, and you then have this big dashboard. You could put notes down for fans. You can see analytics. You can quickly identify who are going to be freeloaders, who are going to be time wasters. You can also see what content has been purchased and hasn't been purchased, so you can prioritize certain pieces of content over others. Now, obviously, these softwares such as Super Creator and Inflow are not cheap, but I highly recommend them. I honestly would not be able to do what I do without using, personally, I use Inflow, and I don't think I could use anything except that. And what's also great about Inflow is that there is an area of the software where you can actually cross promote yourself with other models and do shout out for shout out. So I highly recommend it. You're going to be able to treat it much more like a business and really have all eyes on the analytics, the numbers. You're going to see much more detailed statistics than you could ever get from just the plain regular OnlyFans website. And like I mentioned with the shout out for shout out, the next piece of advice I have is promotion is going to be key. And this is obviously a lot more difficult if you are someone who really wants to be private. You don't want to promote this on social media, but you're going to need to promote it somewhere. That's the reality. If you want to be a faceless account, you're still going to need to find other similar content creators that you can cross promo yourself with, that maybe have a similar size social media following. You might even have to do some paid promo. For faceless accounts, I mostly recommend finding a specific fetish. A really great one is femdom, findom, if you want to do like leather, dominatrix. This is a huge niche. You usually have people willing to spend money for this type of fetish. And one platform that's really good for this specific fetish is loyal fans. So maybe you want to completely change up your strategy and you don't want to be on OF. Maybe you'd rather be on loyal fans, because a site like that is going to provide the kind of clientele that's going to be more interested in the type of content that you're doing. And that type of platform also has discovery tools. So, people within the platform are able to find you, whereas on OF, you pretty much have to bring in all of your own outside traffic. Another great platform for promoting yourself would also be X, and Instagram from time to time as well is very good. I do not recommend TikTok though. TikTok is very strict on the type of content you post, and anything that's even seemingly pushing people over to a spicy page, it's going to be shadow banned so quickly. So I tell people, don't even bother. You use a TikTok for personal branding. Use a TikTok if you want to just like, build a social media presence outside of your spicy stuff. And then maybe some of your fans from that will trickle on over to your spicy stuff because they'll be curious. And then my last piece of advice for you guys is, I know it's very hard to get started on something where you're not seeing immediate rewards, where you're not seeing immediate success. I know a lot of creators tend to look at other creators who are making tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars per month, and let's be real, most creators are not making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. It's more like tens of thousands of dollars. I would say that most of the creators that I personally know who are very established are making probably anywhere from $25 to $50,000 a month. This is like the average right here, of like very successful creators. Then you have like the 1% of the 1% who are like the Sophie Rains, who are making like $100,000, $200,000 per month. But like, this is an anomaly. This is a rarity. This is a person who is like super viral and has a massive social media audience. I'm talking about like, just like the mid-range to big content creators such as myself. And, then you have the smaller creators who, there's people who are making a few $100s a month. Then there's people who are still small creators, but are making $10,000, $15,000 a month because they're really putting in the effort. And to get to that point, even with a small social media following, it's very difficult because you're constantly comparing yourself to these really, really big creators, and you're just feeling like, I'm not doing that. I'm not making that. And I've even had experience where I'm like coaching some of my friends and they're like, oh, today was such a bad day. Like, what the fuck? I only made 20 bucks. I'm like, listen, $20 every day for a month is still like $600. It's a great foundation. It's a great start. And if you can easily make $20 a day, then just double that to $50 a day and you're already looking at $1,500 a month. And yes, those first few months you might not make as much money, you might be working your butt off and you might not be seeing the results right away, but once you start establishing yourself and building on that, that $600 a month is going to turn into $1,500 a month, which is going to turn into $5,000 a month, and then you're going to have a snowball effect. And I like to always give myself goals every single day. I wake up and I say, okay, this is how much money I want to make today. And basically what I do is I stay online, I stay on my computer as long as it takes to make that money. And if I make that money early in the day, that means I can take some of the day off maybe. And sometimes I'm like, no, I don't want to take the day off. I'm going to stay on the rest of the day and I'm going to make well over my goal. And then maybe I can take tomorrow off. So that is kind of how I function and how I operate. And also keep in mind, this isn't like my only job. I also do other things in addition to being a spicy content creator. So, I know a lot of people have very busy, intense schedules. You might have family that you need to take care of. If I can do it, I can guarantee you that you can do it too. And, just start off with a small goal. Tell yourself $25 a day. That's where I want to start. And then after a couple weeks of making consistently $25 a day, boost that up to $50 a day, and so on and so forth. But that's really the foundation of how you're going to start as a content creator and make more money. Obviously, there's a lot more to it. Obviously, you have to be good with your wording, you have to be good with captions, you have to make the right kind of content, you need to find your niche. All of that is in my course. So if you want to go sign up and quit wasting time, that'll be linked down below. But if you want to stick around, every single week, I'm going to do a new video. Every single week, I'm going to be releasing a video. It's going to give you a little taste on how to become a successful content creator using my spicy strategy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and I wish you all so much success and luck. 2026 is a new year. Maybe this is going to be the year that you turn things around and you start creating a real income with this type of work. And I wish you all of the luck and success. Keep it spicy and I'll see you all next time. Bye.